Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny 5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. Today we're going to be visiting Westworld, created by Sergifont, and here they say, hello everyone, welcome to Westworld. Westworld is a Western park where you can find lots of rides for all different ages. We like you to have fun with our thrilling rides, and we will try our best for you to have an amazing day with your family and friends in Westworld. This park took 100 hours to build, and this is my very first park, so I hope that everyone likes it, and I'm looking forward to correct and improve my mistakes. Thank you. And it does say on the workshop that this was inspired by Themepark Worldwide, and Sergifont is a non-Discord member, a YouTube subscriber. So with that being said, come join us on Discord, Sergifont. And it's a Western park. I haven't seen a Western park in a while, so when I saw this in the inbox, I said, hey, why don't we switch up the themes a little bit here today and do a pure Western style theme park and see what this has to offer. There's a lot of coasters from the looks of things, as you can see from the B-roll, at least a dozen or so it's going to be jam-packed. And in terms of the Western theming, it's pretty difficult to make a vibing, incredible wow factor Western park. But this one's looking pretty good overall. Let's see if we can find some ways to suggest to this creator how they can improve going forward. Without further delay, let's jump into the theme park. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Westworld. Got some ambience, some music, feeling the vibes already. Beautiful little Western Main Street area here, looking good. A railroad right away to take you around the park. Exit only and entrance signs. Love to see it. Very good. Seems promising so far. While you wait, Jim's Wagons. All right. Nice little centerpiece here. That's cool. Desperado cash only, no gold teeth. Dirtwood. Looks like we're going right onto a coaster right away, and a wooden coaster at that. So let's see how good this Woody is. That's what she said. But through the queue we go. A floating queue above the rocks. Up and in to the boarding station, held up by tiny pegs. I think this thing's gonna collapse and squish us. All right, let's look at Dirtwood, the wooden monster coaster, 644 meters in length, 58 miles per hour. The biggest drop is 36 meters. Not a lot of airtime on this one. Wah, wah, wah. Let's jump on it. we're gonna do back of the train. Look forward. Let's go. What is up with these lights? Why are they sideways and on the roof like that? Woof. Definitely a short Woody there. I definitely think it could have used a little bit more heavy banking, as well as more bunny hills. I felt like we just started to get going, and then we hit the brake section, the brake section there, and just kind of brought it back in. But not bad. Not bad at all. A pretty standard Woody. It's just the warm up to the overall experience, I hope. We have like what appears to be some sort of Big Thunder Mountain style mine train over there. That'll be exciting. Probably one of the ones we'll get to last if we're gonna keep going in this direction. The Watah. Watah? Drink your Watah, guys. a single rail basilisk. We're jumping queue here. All the queues have not been connected to the ground, which is an interesting thing and you don't normally see. Pretty short in duration on this one as well. 5 inversions though. We're going track view because it is a single rail, and that's the best way to experience the actual track itself. So let's give this a go. All right, short and sweet on that one. You used the longest song in Planet Coaster history for the shortest ride. But some fun inversions there. Cobra Roll, I mean, pretty simple layout, right? Pretty simple, but there are a lot of coasters in this park, so I'm hoping we get to a grand finale. We got this Middle Eastern building in the middle of everything, which is a little bit strange. And it has to be thinking, like, what makes a good Western theme park, and how can we consolidate that information to this creator, because they said it's their very first park ever and looking for ways to improve. And like that Mediterranean building there, Middle Eastern building, is kind of like just there and it doesn't really make sense. Why not do a whole area like that? But it also doesn't really feel like it should be there at all in a Western park. So how do you differentiate and discern areas and make it so it's not just one giant Western park, but it's a Western theme park with multiple themed areas? And the way that I would approach that going into a Western style park, and what I would like to see from creators trying this in the future, is to try to create different lands within the theme park, right? So you come in, you have your main street. It's a standard Western town with lots of vibes, really cool little areas. Off to the side somewhere, you can have like this Adobe style village with like an Indian theme or something like that, like a Native American Indian. And then you could have another area that's all about the waters. You go up the waterfalls and you get to a river rapids, a log flume, a water cascade. Then you can have an area that's all dedicated to steampunk. Then you're going to go up to the mountains at the back and it's all dedicated to mining. And you have mine trains, swinging mine train coasters, wild fever coasters, all of that stuff. And right there, you've already got like 3 or 4 lands, right? And you could just keep pushing that and see what other creative, innovative, and unique ideas you can come up with on top of that. And then that way you have a differentiation between the themes and the areas that you're in, and then you can create some interesting landmarks and points of interest around that. So here we go. We have the inverted, is it a 4-seater Onfire? There's a look at the stats if you want to see them. This one's taken off, so why don't we get right onto it? We'll go middle seat. Whoops. We'll go middle seat. And off we go. All right, a lot more fun and interesting coaster elements on that one. Definitely a bit more length to it, a little bit more exploration. pretty fun. Definitely my favorite coaster so far. It is Onfire. That's the one to beat for me so far. Got a little bridge going over top of the mine train, or the transport train. Tastes like chicken. Hot hen house. Which I feel like we've seen that hot hen house a few times. The Garden of Eden. Hot food. Mexcellente. What happened to the cantina here? Uh-oh. You can't destroy the coffee shop. That is not allowed. All right, what's going on over here? Do your business, wash your hands. Escape rock. Oh, Junior Wendigo. Love me a Junior. With some evil music playing. These boarding stations look very top-heavy, and they're gonna fall apart. They need a little bit of love, a little bit of work. Okay, what do we have going on here? Escape Rock, Junior Dragon. There's a look at the stats if you want to see them. Only a minute in duration, but should be a fun little ride overall. Let's give it a go. Hey, look at that. That was actually quite surprising, and now I kind of understand the music. You're trying to go with this, like, ominous cave, and you chose the ominous music for it. Well, it is a family-friendly adventure coaster. The theming of it, or I guess, like, the environment of it was actually quite compelling. I like what you did with the interior of that cave. That was actually quite fun, and felt a little bit more intentional. Like, so far, if I were to give feedback on things as we're going by, you know, the coasters haven't been really, like, thematic or over the top. And they just feel like, oh, I'm going to do the inverted coaster here. I'm going to do this coaster here. And I just make a small little coaster and put it over here. Whereas that one felt a little bit more intentional, if you know what I mean. Like, it's a junior ride, but we tried to turn it into a dark ride, and we had this spooky theme to it. And it was actually kind of fun. And I felt like it was a little bit more memorable because of that. You had some element to it that was surprising. And that's how you make a kind of a memorable experience. Where the other ones, I just was like, it's a coaster over here off to the side. And there wasn't a lot to it in terms of theme or color choice or palette or layout or adventure. They all kind of felt the same, but with a different coaster choice. So let's see the Caligo here. Almost a kilometer in track length, 65 miles an hour, 5 airtime counts. It's pretty good airtime on this overall. So this is like the big mega coaster of the park so far. I think we're gonna go track view for this, and let's go. Oh, we have pirate music. Yeah, that's definitely one thing, is the music choices have been very interesting so far for a Western park. But let's see if we see some pirate stuff on this pirate coaster. I felt like we cut the experience a little bit short here. We're building up this long lift hill as if we're going on a giga coaster here. I actually quite like this back end exploration. Going around the waterfall. Definitely could have made the waterfall a little bit more epic, and then decorated some of this. And especially because you got the pirate music, maybe have like a little bit of a pirate area. I don't know. Does pirate mix with Western? I don't think it could hurt, but going up and down through these canyons was a pretty fun concept. But just as we kind of got going here, boom, trim brakes back in. I think you have so much of this back end of the park here that you could have just kept the coaster going around a little bit more, ran that momentum out. There's friction on the coaster, right? So it'll run out of momentum pretty soon based off of the momentum we had. We just trimmed it all off though, and then back into the station. So I would have liked to explore just a little bit longer. We could have definitely got an extra 200 meters out of that coaster rather than breaking it all there. Yeah, that's about it. I would have liked to see a little bit more length on that. Again, I feel like the cohesion of the park is where you can start tying things together. The song choice wasn't really that good for me. For a giga coaster, I would have loved to actually seen it, instead of trimming it here, pulling it back even more. This giga coaster should have come out all the way out to here, and then you wouldn't have need that trim brake here. Just because I always feel like with the giga coasters in these parks, they're a great like feature at the back to kind of like wrap around your whole park to like really get up to top speeds of 80 to 90 miles per hour, and you're kind of cruising around the outsides. This is like the best opportunity to make use of space, because on the back sides of your park there's not a whole lot of detail or things in your way. Therefore you could just go hilly hill, ride the hills, ride the terrain, and just really cruise along on that giga coaster and get to those Mach speeds, especially because you're gonna have such a tall lift hill. So for me, I would have just made that more about the environment than anything, and it did feel that way. I just felt like it was pulled a little bit short in my opinion. This looks pretty interesting. We got like this kind of warehouse vibe going on, and it appears to be like a dive coaster. I guess we could probably try to check out the railroad at the end and see how it navigates through the park. This is a cute little build here. But yeah, dive coaster. It looks like it's going underground into some sort of mine shaft. And I think dive coasters can be very fitting in a Western park, if done right. Oh, there's a mine rush here as well that I just walked by. But yeah, like, there's a lot of opportunities for you to, like, have your dive coaster point down at some opening doors, drop into some mine shafts, and go into some mining caverns. You could go really deep and elaborate with that, so we'll have to see when we get there, but I definitely feel like there's a place that's fitting for a dive coaster as a choice in a Western theme park. I wouldn't say all the coasters so far have been very fitting to a Western park, but you could sell them if you did something interesting. Like, I feel like an inverted coaster would be something you would put in like a steampunk area, something a little bit more advanced, I guess. So here we go. We have the Mine Rush. It is the swinging mine train coaster, 600 meters in length and 37 miles per hour. A bit of a family friendly in terms of stats here. Nothing too crazy going on. We're definitely going bucket seat so we can get that swing, and off we go. It's this song again. Wow, super gentle swinging my train. In fact, it's so gentle that we actually didn't even make use of the swinging mechanic at all. The nice feature with this is the fact that you don't really have to bank this coaster because it sort of swings around the corners if you don't bank it. And if you do bank it, then it doesn't really swing. But another feature that you can use with this is to actually invert it completely and it'll swing upside down and hang. There's a lot of fun things you could do with this, but this creator decided to go with the more gentle route, which I'm not mad at. I definitely think you could have sped up the lift hills a little bit. Because it was such a gentle ride that the lift hills felt a little bit monotonous to go up, having multiples, but not bad. I would have liked to go through the mines a little bit more, considering it's called Mine Rush. It was a bit misleading. There was no rush and there was no mines. So, very interesting indeed. Let's head over to this dive coaster. I don't understand what's going on with these paths. They feel like they're floating, or at least most of the queues are. I think you could use more of a wider path that's doesn't have these edges, right? And then open it up a little bit more. It's a little bit crampy. Just trying to provide some feedback as we go. I love this sign here, though. Canyon Mine Train, Runaway Train. Is this... Oh, this is our Big Thunder Mountain. This is looking good. All right. My hopes are set high for this one. Very cool. We got one taking off right now. Very long train on this one too. Let's see what we got. Almost a kilometer in length, 44 miles per hour, no airtime. Uh-oh. And multiple trains running on it. That's good. We definitely going to be riding this train at the back. Looking forward. Let's go. Ooh, love the song choice. This is feel-good song. Very feel-good song. I don't think this creator knew that you could speed up lift hills. Just select the whole lift and then increase the miles per hour. Because boy, oh boy, these lift hills are a drag. The song's gonna be done by the time we get to the top. Okay, here we go. Ooh, love the big splash. Well done there. Love it. Very good. Feel good vibes on this one for sure. Love the effort there with the big splash there. I love that. Wrapping around the whole mountain from the outsides. Great viewpoints. Interesting looking mountain. Definitely one of the stronger rides in this park for sure. I would just speed that lift up. Great song choice as well. One thing I will point out, while I think this was a pretty strong effort on this one overall, when you're building a coaster, there's a thing called auto tunneling. So when you push a coaster through terrain, it'll auto tunnel. You could tell that that's what this was done because it's a perfect circle, right? It's a perfect cylinder. We're going through a tube, and that tube can oftentimes be somewhat immersion breaking, at least for me. So what I would recommend doing is just messing it up a little bit. You know, get in there with your push tool and then just kind of like open it up a little bit more, make it feel a little bit more natural, make like a big cave opening here. Then you can go in there with theming afterwards and board it up. You know, have like a mine shaft, build wooden supports, build that in, make it feel like miners have come through this mining cave. And sometimes when the roof is getting a little bit low, we can open that up a little bit more. We can add some rafters. And if you really want, you have these little fires and stuff, you can actually make some sets off to the side, like a little campfire or something, a couple bandits hanging out in the corner here, just so when we're coming through these tubes, they don't no longer feel like tubes anymore, but like a mining experience, right? And you can even open it up, so like we crank the tensity. I think we're at the side of a mountain. Yeah, we are. Do something like that. So you have these like little areas that are opening up, so you get the reveal parts of your park. See the big coaster in the background, some points of interest. So as you're going on the ride, you're like, oh, I want to go on that next, right? So different ways to make the caves feel a little bit more interesting will go a long way. So let's continue onward and see what is next. The railroad again. Lots of stops here. Another hot hen house. And we got the big wheel. How do we get to the dive coaster? We're going up over here to this bridge. This prison church with ominous music. And we're back at the Garden of Eden hot food. The one thing that's confusing about using the same food shops over and over and over again often makes me feel like I've been here before. Definitely a good idea to switch it up. And honestly, if you're new to a creator, like this person says this is the first creation they've ever made, I think it's helpful to go to the Steam Workshop and download other people's Western creations, just to give you more variety. One of the most encumbering things about playing Planet Coaster is building everything yourself, and it can take a lot of time. And if you feel like you don't want to build everything yourself and you instead duplicate what you've built multiple times, you get a lot of repetition. To break up that repetition, just go download somebody else's Western shops, place them around your park. It'll go a long way and save you a lot of time. So here we go. We got the dive coaster here, 100 seconds in duration, 650 meters in length, 59 miles per hour. The biggest drop is only 34 meters and 2 inversions on this. So we're going to definitely go seat view, middle seat for this, and off we go. Rocking the sci-fi music. This gives me an idea for a major twist in a Western theme park. You get to the top, you aim your dive at a door, then once the door's open and you drop down, there's this whole futuristic underground cave, and it takes you through a whole sci-fi area. And that could be like an interesting hidden world, like alien technology, because we've seen that before. One idea that you can play around with is Cowboys vs. Aliens, right? So you could have this whole like alien underground world. Ooh, nice view there. Really nice view. All right, short and sweet. Bit of a small dive. I think I was expecting a lot more when we were coming out of here. When we're looking down, I was like, oh, I can see where we're diving to. It's a really great idea to kind of drop it into a tunnel, drop it into a lake, drop it into something, a doorway. You can have this exact door that we're looking down at, and we were, what's behind the hatch? And when we drop, it opens up and we go down deep. And you could have done some really cool crystal caves and stuff. The music was leading me to believe that something big was going to happen, and we never had that payoff. It's like the concepts are there, just the execution isn't quite there either. I think Western is one of those challenging things, and this, just going through this park and talking about it, and the creator asks for feedback and how they can improve and what kind of concepts they can come up with in the future. So I'm just throwing everything that's coming across my mind as I see it. What kind of things we can come up with. Here we go. We got what looks to be a Barghast, yep, which is a gas lower. Track length 555, and 5 inversions on this as well. Let's oh, we got a spooky music. Maybe we should do this one at nighttime. We haven't done anything at nighttime so far to go along with that spooky music. Let's check it out. visuals lined up really good with the audio, and some pretty cool views on that as well. Not too bad. Definitely gives off those spooky vibes. And with what I was speaking about earlier, incorporating different themes into Western, I definitely feel like spooky is a whole little genre or area that you can add to a Western theme park. That being a like Western ghost town sort of thing, and you get some really cool abandoned ghost cowboy areas going on in this Western world. It's actually like, even though the concepts aren't fully realized here, the park's pretty fun. There's some, you know, and the rides might be a little bit on the shorter side, but they're still pretty average, and some above average. It's not bad. It's a pretty strong effort, especially for a first ever theme park. And as I'm going through it and kind of expressing my thoughts on how you can, you know, create a more amped up epic experience for some of these rides and concepts, it's actually got me a little bit inspired, because we don't see a lot of Western parks, especially not to the level of some of the things that I've been explaining in terms of desirables when seeing a Western park. And it's making me want to like jump in and play around with the Western pack, because of all the packs in Planet Coaster. We have a RMC here, by the way. These are the stats if you'd like to see them. But in terms of all the pieces in Planet Coaster, Western is one of the ones that I've never really touched at all, ever. And I could see it being pretty difficult for this being like the first thing you tackle in Planet Coaster. It's very challenging to do Western, and I would have to say that this is done pretty well, all things considered. There's a lot to look at, there's a lot to see, and we got some Planet Bluegrass, so I'm gonna shut up now and enjoy the soundtrack and the RMC. Warning. The song choice definitely made it more fun. Wow, freaking wee. There it is, the RMC. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hop back down and keep going into Westworld. I think this might loop us back to the entrance here. It's a very spread out and open park. I got a little viewpoint here for the river rapids. I like it. Some dead ends, though. Would have been good to have a bridge that takes us back over from there. I'm not sure where I'm going. That's the exit. How do you get into the queue? Through this building. Oh, did I pass it? The train fall. Yeah, it's very open and windy in terms of layout, but that's how I would imagine, you know, like, you know, how do you navigate through a big Western area and still make it feel very busy? Usually Western towns are very small, right? And I think the only way to do that is to do these other themed areas like I suggested, like a whole steampunk land. That way you have multiple main streets in each of the themed areas, and you could just cram them and then have all the rides on the outside. Otherwise, you're kind of like winding around the park, and it's very hard to fill and decorate. So we have the Train Fall River Rapids, 400 meters in length, 150 seconds of duration. Let's see what kind of environmentals this creator has done for us here today on the River Rapids. We're gonna go with this view, and off we go. Watch out! And I got another pirate song for this one. In terms of views and landscapes, I think this is one of the more captivating rides. There's a lot to look at. The way the lighting's coming in and the scenery's been done. I feel like there's a lot of effort got into this in terms of captivating terrain and landscape. I really like this. All right, really solid river rapids. Definitely like that. I definitely feel like the music choice didn't work there. I was always like, I always say that I personally prefer having like a good audio track line up when it's intentional. Like, oh wow, like, because it gives you opportunities to make the coaster flow with the music or make the music flow with the coaster. And it really sets the tone and adds theming. It adds that thematicness. And the right soundtrack can really go a long way. But the opposite is also true, that I think the wrong soundtrack can make it feel odd, out of place. And I felt that with a few of the rides throughout the park so far. And we have made it back to the park entrance. Shall we take a look at the railroad? And then I'll hit up the ride list to make sure we didn't miss any coasters here. And there are 3 stations to this mine train. And here comes one now. We're gonna go track view, check it out, putz around the park a little bit, see what views we get along the way. The Great World of Planet Coaster soundtrack. We're gonna get the sound down a little bit so I can hear myself think. Overall, for a first time ever park, it's pretty good. Even though I had feedback, suggestions, critiques, and all that, it's coming from a good place, and it's just something that the creator had asked for. So generally, if somebody's first ever creation and they ask for feedback, I try to provide it. And other times we just try to enjoy the experience. There are definitely areas that can be improved here, but I also think there's a lot of things done well. A lot of the little builds and areas come together quite nicely. The compositions were great. And in fact, like looking at the Big Thunder Mountain mine train, it looks super compelling. And same with the Giga Coaster at the back of the park. It looked like we were going to explore. A lot of the screenshots and what I looked at from this park from kind of a bird's eye view and kind of like an overview of the park as I was planning to spotlight it, I had a lot of big hopes and expectations. And through going through the park and actually going on them firsthand, I felt that maybe I set my expectations a little bit too high, nor did I know that this was the creator's first time ever park. So I'm getting a lot of mixed emotions because when I looked at the park, I thought this was a very advanced expert quality. I thought it looked captivating, compelling. The coasters looked really good. There's a lot of things about it, even the views, like we're coming over here with the bridge, the waterfall, and the coaster lift all there. The points of interest and everything, even this Big Thunder Mountain, it's all coming together and it looks like a great park on the exterior. Where I feel it falls a little bit short is with the experiences. I felt that some of the experience were a little bit underwhelming, if that makes sense. I was like, oh, the Giga Coaster could have gone through the backed hills a lot more and explored the park a little bit better and taken us on more an adventure. The Big Thunder Mountain could have had like a little bit more of a mining experience. But these are all like great things to add on to as feedback for this creator's future parks. They had the concepts, they had the placements, they had the layout all done well, the points of interest, all of that stuff. It was very well done. And I just think from there, it's like, how do I make this experience fitting? How do I thematically add this in? I feel like this whole little area could have been like more of a steampunk area, especially next to this single rail, because the single rail is made out of pure steel and it fits very well with a steampunk style genre. Same with the inverted coaster. So if kind of like broke this off, pushed it back a little bit, had a big pathway leading in with a center plaza area with these kinds of rides around the outside, then it's like you're entering Steam World, and then we have these 3 attractions or so and these big heavy duty gear style rides inside of Steam World. Then I feel like, okay, I went to Steam World, I visited it, and now I'm leaving again and it's going to take me somewhere else. A lot of these paths were just very windy with some generic Western stuff plopped down and also some random buildings plopped down, and it made the cohesion not feel. We have like this little Mexican building here. Some of it just didn't fit to me. So I feel like it, from a bird's eye view, it's all making sense to me. It's looking compelling. It's looking interesting. And then we get down to the ground level and it's starting to kind of like, some of the flaws are showing through the cracks, if you will. I think a lot of the feedback I gave has some merit to it. And I just like, I like what I see, but I just feel like it has to be taken a little bit further. Got to be pushed a little bit more. And that's where this creator's first time ever park, it's a pretty strong effort. It's actually really good. And I think there's a lot of things done well. I really like the river rapids. I liked the Giga Coaster at the back exploring the terrain. Just would have liked to see a little bit more. I love the concept of the Big Thunder Mountain, which was over here, the way it's going in and out. And it just like push those, you know, the first time creator is going to do auto tunnel and call it a day. Well, an advanced builder will say, I'm not done here. Let's add some mine shafts, open it up a little bit, create some points of interest and some peaky points like I showed there, and just open it up and add a little bit more to it. So as a base concept, I think it's all there, and it just needs to be taken a little bit further. In terms of path layout and cleanup, I feel like it could be a little bit more centralized. We're getting a little bit, we're straying off a little bit far and getting a little bit lost. We could use some more of a main path that leads us around the park that's not so narrow like this. Very claustrophobic path work, and they give you the path tools with the width for a reason, right? We want these big wide paths to take us through the main street of a western town and then branch off from there. So I could see some improvements with the pathing as well. But concept wise, it looked compelling to me, and I thought it was pretty good overall, and a pretty strong effort with all the amount of coasters played around with. It seems like the creator had a lot of fun, and that's what Planet Coaster is all about. Experimenting, playing around. We got woodens, we got RMCs, single rails, inverted coasters, dive coasters, giga coasters, a little bit of everything, even a water ride mixed in there. So really sampling what the game has to offer and getting warmed up with all of those tools and features. And from there, it's just about taking it a little bit further and learning from there. So I think this is a very good starting point for a brand new builder to the community, and I definitely commend them for a pretty strong theme park here today. And a look at the ride list does in fact confirm that we have hit every ride in this park. So there you guys go. Let me know what your thoughts are on Westworld. Was I a little bit too harsh? Do you agree with some of my feedback? Do you like the park? I think it's a very strong beginner brand new submission. So sergifont, if you're still playing Planet Coaster, come join us on the Discord. We'd love to see what you're working on for your next Western park. And for me, Western is very underutilized. It's something that we don't see enough of. So for me, I wanted to jump in and take a look at this. And in fact, I feel inspired and I want to see more Western parks going forward. And in fact, I kind of want to build one, but I'm in the middle of Project Planko right now. We got a lot of things going on the channel, lots of videos coming out. So maybe something I save for next year. I did say Project Planko would be the last park I make, but for whatever reason, all the talking and all the concepts and all the things that I think you could do with Western, and I haven't seen it after 7 years of Planet Coaster, it's like, well, if I haven't seen it so far, then nobody's gonna do it. So the only way I can do it is to do it myself. So it's on my radar now, and I'm thinking about it. But if you guys have a good Western park, send it on in, because I feel like I want to see more from this genre in the theme park experience. So there you guys go. What did you think? Throw your comments down below, and that is going to do it for us in today's episode of Park Spotlight. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.